What's up, everybody? It is I, James, coming to you from the Nerdy Musings podcast studio. I'm excited to be joined today by the second ever colorist to be featured on the podcast. And that's saying something because we're over a year in now. Chris, aka Tartan Ninja Colorist. How you doing today, Chris?
Good. How you doing, nerdy? No,
I'm
wait,
doing
can I call
good,
you
man.
nerdy or
You can call me James or Nerdy or just don't call me late to dinner and we'll be good. How's your day going?
it's going pretty good actually. Got a little actually I got a little coloring in earlier today, which is great.
Excellent.
I am actually on vacation right now because I wanted to do the podcast, obviously come on, and then also got some time with my daughter, got a couple of projects coming up, so I'm trying to
Oh,
get ahead,
nice.
which is kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, vacation. My wife and I just came to the realization a couple of days ago that we have not had time off since Christmas last year. And we're
Oh
like,
yes.
oh, we're already halfway through the year or more than halfway through the year now. Maybe we should take a week off. So we're actually taking next week off.
Oh nice.
Yeah, it's going to be a staycation though. We're not traveling out of state or anything like that. But sometimes that's nice. Kind of catch up on things around the home front and do some day trips somewhere, go exploring. Knowing us, we'll probably go hunt for comics in an antique store or something like that.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes, sir. What do you got planned for your vacay?
It's roughly the same thing. So it's gonna be a staycation. I want to get some coloring done. I got a couple of commissions that I want to like get finished this week before I head back to work. At the
Nice.
same time, I was gonna see Fantastic Four, but I'm not gonna get a chance to, unfortunately, this week.
Oh man,
Which, and I'm hearing it's really good.
I really enjoyed it.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm jealous. I
Now,
really
I
want to
I
go.
loved Superman as well. I think we're very much, as they would say, eating good right now as comic
Yes,
book movie fans and comic book fans because I really enjoyed Superman and I also enjoyed Fantastic Four. I think you're gonna like it.
I did see Superman and I loved it.
Nice.
Um, I did feel maybe because I also love Man of Steel. Like I
I
loved,
do too. Yeah,
right? But that was obviously a darker, no humor movie.
different
So
vibes.
very much so. So in contrast to that, this Superman movie was obviously more fun, and
Yes.
in some cases it did feel maybe there were a couple too many jokes. But
Yeah,
I
there might have
mean,
been a little too much. I guess the only gripe I could maybe come up with, maybe a few too many crypto being a bad boy
oh yeah,
things. That was overdone a little bit. But yeah, I would say Superman kind of to me, if you look at it from the perspective of like comics, it kind of felt the most like a Superman comic come to life that I've ever seen on the big screen.
you know what? That's what I've heard. Um, I was never I was always a Superman fan, but I never collected the comics growing up.
Right.
But if a movie came out, obviously I was there. But I did because I liked a lot of more Batman and Spider Man, and was very
Yes.
much a Marvel guy for the longest time.
Yeah.
Right. So
I would probably put myself in that. I would paint myself with that brush as well. Definitely more. I've always kind of been more of a MCU as far as the movies, and then with the comics as well. But Batman was always my jam when it came to DC, and still is. As somebody who's into art and into drawing, though, I think a lot of what pulled me towards certain characters was who was drawing the comic.
oh, very much so.
Right? And if you think of Batman, they always tend to put pretty iconic big league artists on those titles.
Oh yeah, Neil Adams, Frank Miller, Jim Lee.
Telling you.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not even probably covering. I'm obviously not covering all of them, but there's
Greg
just so
Capullo.
many. Yes, Capullo.
And now you got Jorge Jimenez on there just killing it. And Dan Mora's doing stuff. It's just like crazy.
Yeah. And you know what? I really liked Jorge's work on Batman. It was the way it was colored with the way it was drawn
Yeah.
really suited that style. I felt it brought a fresh take to the visual side
It
of that
really did.
comic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I downloaded a lot of pictures because I'm like, how is the colorist doing this?
Right.
And I know it's probably a lot of it is done in Photoshop, and I don't use Photoshop, but I still want to see what I can learn and I can replicate it going forward for anyone that I am doing work for now, or even for the
Yeah.
fun stuff that I do.
Well, it's neat with color. There's so many different styles that you can approach a project with. And I want to talk shop a little bit because, you know, getting a colorist on here, colorists aren't featured enough, in my opinion. Not, I would say you guys are vastly underappreciated for what you do in comics. In the comics, that's like the color can make or break a book. I mean, it
Very
can really take somebody out of it. Like if it's a nighttime scene and they're coloring it like the people are in the daytime, stuff like little things like that. Um, I think you guys are kind of like the final line in the defense there for ensuring that the book reads well. So for you, what was it that attracted you to that aspect of the art form when it comes to comics?
so I had a bit of a meandering journey to get to where I am right now. I actually wanted to be a penciler. Ever since I was a kid, like I would just pencil all the time. I would just take a comic and I would just redraw the comic all the way through. Uh, to like, I never really traced as much. It was more just visual. Like I would look at the picture and then draw it. And then as I got older, um, I didn't really get the chance, obviously, to join Marvel or DC and and so I eventually got a regular job, regular Joe type of thing, and stuck with doing a lot of martial arts. So literally, I'd work 9 to 5, and then I would do like 5 to 11 at night, and then I'd
Yeah.
train on the weekends too.
Yeah.
Um, but
Sounds
about
like a very similar story. Yeah.
and because it was like, all right, fine. If I'm not going to be a comic book artist, then I'm going to be a ninja,
There you go.
right? And so about what was it, about 8 years ago? Was it 8 years ago? The iPad came out. Not the iPad, the iPad 2 Pro.
The
So the
pro,
second
yeah.
gen came out, and I mean, where we live, we don't have a lot of room, so I couldn't have paper upon paper being stacked. So we saved up, got an iPad, and I started drawing on the iPad, and I felt it was really different from obviously drawing on paper.
Oh, for sure.
And then I got into it was a bit of a stressful time. Like I kept obviously as you going about to go into COVID, losing jobs.
Yeah.
I found I would just color artwork I would see other people post, or even I would take like a Jim Lee cover of Superman, and I would just color it for fun, like typical flatting, nothing
Yes.
serious. And I just kept in, and I found that it was very, very relaxing. It brought
Mm.
my blood pressure down, and it was just something I could sit on the couch and do at nights instead of like vegging and watching TV or dealing with anything else. So it really relaxed me, and so I just kept doing it. I started meeting people through Instagram because originally I was just on Instagram,
Right.
and all of a sudden people were asking me, how much could I pay you to color this? And I was like, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and and I'm like, $20, and they'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, and then that's how it started. One of the first people I colored a lot for is his name is Connor, and I can't remember his last name. On Instagram, he did a lot of Batman stuff. He's creating his own comics. So I was doing a lot of his coloring and I actually thought I was pretty good at that point. And I kept doing it. Looking back now, I can see where there was a huge change between what I was then and what I am now.
Yeah.
But I kept going. I'm like, maybe this could be like a second stage in life type of career. I don't want to be a designer forever. So maybe this could be something. So I just kept working, and then I started took a couple of comic book courses. There was a beginner and advanced comic coloring course held by Chris. Man, I should have looked that up before we got in the interview.
I think I know the one you're talking about, but I can't remember the name either.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I'm a,
he,
I'm a sucker for all the courses. Not a sucker in a bad way. It's just I can't help myself. But any comic creation type of course, whether it's drawing, penciling, inking, coloring,
yep.
like I'm here for it.
Yeah, so he had this course, and I was all right. You know what? I'm gonna take the course. It ran, I think, from like 9 o'clock till 12 at night. So it was a late. So I had to stay on that. Then obviously go to work, and then you do the like the homework for the week. But he was really good in pointing out what you needed to do to push beyond, like, and there was really delving. He delved a lot into color theory, and or even how to approach it so it doesn't have to be the way you would think. Because when you color
Hmm.
a comic, it doesn't need to look like real life.
Exactly.
And one of the things I started to find that I was doing was I was trying to make it too realistic. And I was trying to, without, maybe it was the penciler in me, I was trying to overpower the artist's lines because I was trying to draw
Yeah.
on my own stuff. And it took me a while to start really stepping back and letting the color complement the line work, which is really difficult because I
Yeah.
still want to do it every time.
That has to be hard, right? Especially like, and it is important for a colorist to understand structure and anatomy and all these things because you really can go in there. You could go in and actually maybe save a piece that amateur artist has done by giving more direction in sculpting the forms and things that they're maybe forgetting or leaving out. But it has to be hard to pull back and kind of go, okay, I can't go in here and overpower this. I need to do just enough. How did you find that balance? Was it just repetition, just go over and over, seeing how much you could take out while still enhancing the work?
It was a bit of that, and then there was a YouTube video. I think it was on I think it was on Proco's channel.
Oh yeah.
And they had a guy coloring. And the way he was coloring, he was talking about what not to do. And it balanced with what Chris had told us in the course. Like stuff in the background doesn't need, you don't need to zoom in to 1,000% and
Right.
and color in every shadow and every light source, because the more detail you put to the background, it collapses and flattens the image, right? You
Yeah.
need to have those like stages, the foreground, the
The
midground, the
layers,
background.
yeah.
Yeah, you have that layering type effect for it. And maybe after I'd done both of those courses, and then I saw the video, I think after it had sat in my brain for a while, and then I saw it, and I was like, okay, all right, I think I understand this now. And just the way he would just do blocks of color at first, and then he'd only narrow down certain parts, but then I would notice it would really start to focus the eye on the parts he wanted you to see. So
Right.
between him, like the penciler, the inker, and him, you could really see how the whole piece came together, which I found was really, really interesting. And like you said, like as the last line of defense, like the colors can absolutely kill a project.
Oh, for sure. I've talked about this with several artists, but I've noticed in recent, like in modern comics, I'm seeing a lot of color work that I can tell the people are either rushed or I would say they don't have that understanding of anatomy and things like that because, or even sadly, basic lighting, because I've seen, the artist has put the shadow on this side, but they put the shadow
Oh,
on the other side of the nose, even though the artist has shown, hey, the light's coming from this way, the shadow's over here, and they're like putting a shadow, cast shadow on the wrong side and stuff like that. So yeah, it's tough. It's one of these things where it can just really, and maybe probably your average person doesn't care and doesn't notice that stuff. But for me, it's like, oh, something looks wrong here. I know the shadow's this way. The colorist should know where the shadow goes based off of what the artist is putting down. It's different if the artist is leaving things very open for you and not really giving a sense of where the light is coming from. I think like Ryan Otley, some of his Invincible work back in the day was very much like that. Like he left stuff really open, and then the colorist just came in there and rocked it and shined and kind of, you know, determined where the lighting was and everything. But most artists, they're giving a little bit more of a tighter approach.
yeah. I noticed in the beginning, for me, a lot of times, if I was coloring Batman and Spider-Man with obviously art like a McFarlane, Capullo, I knew the lines, I knew what it was supposed to look like, and sometimes I had to have the original reference for color, so it would
Yeah.
really help out. And then as I started doing it, at first I called it line because I didn't know what it was going to look like until I finished.
Yeah.
I really had a lot of difficulty uh, because I no longer, I would like remove those training wheels and I was trying to move forward. And I suddenly had to start really referencing images online to start really picking up because
Yeah.
I started to see that I may have had like, a nice shade going on, but it all felt the same. Like if it was leather, it didn't look like leather. Or if it was skin, it didn't look like skin. And now I have to go back and I have to start saying, okay, so what brush should I use when I want to get that skin look
Yeah.
or what? And
Because
I've really,
texture is a big part of it, right? Like delineating what material is which, and like you said, what's skin, what's part of the costume. Like if you're coloring the costume the same way as the skin, it's gonna give everything a real flattened kind of sameness to it, right?
yeah. And and for me, I had some trouble because in my mind, it was like the first time I used Photoshop and I was trying to get used to the concept of layers. If if you drew and painted on paper, you never had to worry about layers. Suddenly
Right.
you can have like 40 to 100 layers in Photoshop, but I was
Yeah.
doing everything on one layer. And it it took a lot of time. And so now all of a sudden I'll actually just look at what someone's drawn. I'll download it and then I'll put it away and I'll come back to it, kind of just let it percolate in the background before I'll reopen it again. And then I'll start to study where his shadows or his or her shadows are. Because it
Right.
could be sometimes it takes a while to start really figuring out where the artist thought had envisioned the lighting coming from. And
Mm-hmm.
then that'll totally help you build the piece. And I mean, I like to use what they call cut and grad to start on a piece and then try and use
Yes.
brushes to go in and start adding the texture. It takes a little, for me, it takes a little longer because I don't do it in Photoshop, but I think obviously much happier and hopefully the clients are much happier with the way the piece comes out at the end.
Yeah. Procreate is different, and I'm assuming you're using Procreate for your
Yeah.
coloring on the iPad. Um, Procreate is definitely different in how you color compared to Photoshop. There are some similarities, but how you like do gradients and things is different and all of that. Um, that was a little tricky for me. I'm like, how do you pull off doing a gradient the same way in Procreate? I had to look up a couple tutorials on how people were showing that they did it because it is very different. Did you find overall, though, once you got into it, Procreate felt a little more intuitive to you?
I really did. And I think it's because they rely so much on brushes.
Yeah.
It almost forces you to feel more like an artist. Whereas I think with Photoshop, because you could do so many things, and I work in Photoshop in my day job, so
Right.
you can do it's easier to do certain lighting effects or color holds on in Photoshop because it has that ability, whereas you don't have the same properties with your lasso tool and Procreate. So you got to get inventive, I guess, as you would
Yeah.
probably notice, to get things done. And one of the best people I found for helping to do these things in Procreate, although he didn't do a lot of it, was Color with Kurt.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I believe I follow. Yeah.
Yeah. Although I haven't seen many videos from him lately, so
Yeah, I
I
don't
hope,
think he's done much recent stuff. Yeah, it was all
yeah,
like older stuff that I saw last time I looked on there.
yeah. So I watched a lot of him, and because one of the things is when you get line art, sometimes it would be black line art with a white background, and you'd have to remove the white background. And in Procreate, it's not as intuitive as it would be
No.
in, but he had a workaround, and it works
Yep.
perfect. Whereas in Clip Studio Paint, which I also have, which I've played around with a little bit, all you have to do is click a button that says convert brightness to opacity, and you got
Yeah.
your line art ready to go.
Well, actually, now in the most recent version, you don't even have to do that. Literally, when you import it in, it says, "Do you want to extract all the lines?" And it's like yes or
Oh,
no, and you click the button, it goes boom.
oh my God, that's incredible.
It's crazy. You can go in there and tinker with it if it doesn't get it perfect. There's sliders and things, but yeah, it's like you import a photo. It's like, you want to extract all the lines? Yes, please. Yeah, but I found coloring in Clip Studio. I just couldn't. Again, there's that intuitive nature wasn't there for me. Like, I feel like with Procreate, a lot of the stuff feels very intuitive, and you can go in there and it feels more. I don't know. It's weird to say because it's digital, but it feels more natural to me.
Yes, and their new update looks like it's going to be really cool.
It looks crazy. I've seen was it Clayton Henry?
Yeah.
Um, Another amazing artist does all his work on the iPad in Procreate. Like his whole process is done on there, and he does a lot of process videos and clips that he puts on his Instagram. Yeah, I saw he was one of the beta testers for the newest one, and it looked pretty crazy.
Yeah, and this is why I need a new iPad. Funny enough,
Right?
because it's the second generation iPad Pro, so I'm running like 4 gigs of RAM, but I got to
Yep.
make sure I have enough. I can't have too many like images and videos on my iPad because it'll slow down Procreate.
Yep.
And I've become a layers person because
Yeah.
when I'm in Procreate, because as I'm coloring, if I want to test something and because I'm not quite sure how it's going to work out, a layer, and then I'll layer them
Exactly.
up and then I'll collapse them and I'll layer them up and collapse them. But those really big pieces, I worked on some where I can get 4 layers. And so I have my flat, I do all the rendering that I can possibly do on that next layer.
Yeah.
And
You're
then I'll
pushing the
start.
limits of that iPad.
I really am. And it's
Yeah.
been, I think it's 8 years old now. It's about
Yep.
8 years old. So, and I was gonna spring for one around now, but there's rumors there's a new iPad coming out, iPad Pro coming out in
I know
October.
it's so hard, man. Whenever I'm thinking about getting one of these new one, upgrading, and then it's like, well, if you just wait a few more months, the new one's gonna be out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard those rumors too.
So I'm gonna wait and see. Uh, but obviously, I mean, if my iPad kicks it, I'm just gonna go grab a new one.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, it's part of your workflow now.
It is. I don't because and that's the great thing about the iPad, right? Is you can just literally take it anywhere.
Anywhere. Yeah, the portability aspect and just like from a penciling perspective, I don't do a lot of penciling on there, but it is the most intuitive device as far as penciling that I've ever found, and I've tried them all. Like I've had way back in the day, the first Wacom tablets, Cintiq type monitors, all of that, and there's always just that little offset from the pin tip to the screen, and
Yeah.
all these different little, or that's lagging behind your stroke a little bit. But with the iPad, there's none of that.
Yeah. I mean, I remember my first Wacom. It was a bamboo,
Yeah, I
and I
remember
did
the
it was
bamboo.
for graphic design, and it
Yes.
was like 5 by 7 inches. And at the time, it felt like a game changer because you felt like you were doing everything in Photoshop or InDesign
Yep.
like an artist and not using it with a mouse, and it became more intuitive. And I think that helped
Yes.
me make that bridge to the iPad when it came out.
Right. Yeah, you were familiar with that. Yeah, the hard part about the tablets was the disconnect because you're doing it down here and it's moving on the monitor. That was always the hard part for people. And then they came out with the Cintiq, monitor drawing monitors, but they were like back then they were really expensive. Like only the Todd McFarlanes and stuff had those. Like I've heard stories about him when he first got his Cintiq. He would travel with it. He'd literally pack the whole thing
Oh
up
wow.
and take it, carry it on in the plane, and so he could work wherever he was and everything. I'm not sure if he still does that. I'm not sure if he's adopted an iPad for some of his workflow, but yeah, he was an early adopter of the inking digitally back in the day.
That that sounds like a him type thing. Like any,
Totally.
probably, I mean, any of the image guys were obviously forward thinking
Yeah.
to branch out on their own like that with
Well,
no
if you
safety
think,
net.
yeah, and if you think about it, they innovated digital coloring
Yes,
because that pretty much all started at Image. They all started developing their own in-house colorist studios and had purchased all the computers and things, and they were on crazy early versions of Photoshop and stuff, and a lot of the original digital coloring houses all kind of spun up out of Image, so they were definitely ahead of the curve in a lot of areas.
yeah, very much so. And thank goodness for that, because look where we are today.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, let's not
Yeah.
forget Alex Sinclair. Wow.
Yes. Alex is amazing. He's supposed to come on here. He committed to it, but he's a busy guy, man. He's coloring everything under the sun right now. He's coloring all the Hush stuff for Jim. He colored that Wolverine. I think he did the Wolverine. Didn't he do some of the Wolverine Revenge with Capullo? He did
Um,
something. Or no, he did the
no,
Thing. He did that Thing series with Justin Mason. Um, he's doing the Deadpool Batman. Like they've got him on everything right now.
the good, yeah, he, because I know the original colorist, I think had trouble with the schedule with Capullo and dropped it. I don't know anything about it,
Okay.
but
Yeah, I
yeah,
thought
maybe Alex jumped in.
I thought he did. I thought I remember seeing at least one issue that he colored, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But all I know is that guy's a workhorse because he's been. It seems like every major book that's coming out, his name is on there as the colorist.
And every time he does, because he collaborates with Wacom a lot
Yep,
on their videos, so every time he's on there, if I can't catch it live, I will watch it afterwards
for
because
sure.
um, it's almost like there are certain art colorists where you can say that they're really flashy,
Yeah,
but I think he really knows how to blend his colors to the line art.
he
So he
does.
may not be flashy, but it syncs so well with the line art that's being used that it works perfectly. If you go back, I mean, I got Hush sitting behind me,
Oh yeah,
and I look through that all the time because while he may not over render the crap out of that thing, he can he complements Jim Lee and Scott Williams so
it really
well,
does. Yeah.
right? And
Well,
that's what I'm
and the
trying
way
for.
the way that Scott renders Jim's pencils, I think because Jim has a very heavily rendered style with all the line work and everything. Like if you had too much of a rendered color style on it, it really would take away from it, and it could maybe even cause it to look a little bit muddy. So Alex knows how to kind of pull things back and really not. He adds to it, but he enhances it, but he doesn't take anything away from it. Really, doesn't overpower it like you were saying.
Yeah, and like I respect that. That's where I'm trying to take mine now. Is so that any artist could come to me and I could make their artwork look incredible.
Yeah.
So as
Well, I see it in your images you post. I think you're closer to achieving that than you probably realize.
thanks.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I've had people say um, that they love how I really blended in with the way the artist does the work, and it kind of made me think that maybe a colorist should be a bit of a chameleon.
Mhm.
So you'll recognize the quality of the work, but the main job is to just pair so well with the artist that you're working with. Because I mean, the pencilers and or a lesser extent the inkers still seem to be I know the writers are the rock stars too.
You're right.
Yeah, and so I mean, if it was a band, what colorists would be the drummers,
Yeah, I think
right?
so.
Like when they're really good, it's great. But when a drummer goes off on his own and it's not good, you hear it and it ruins the song.
Absolutely. Yeah. What would they the inkers, are they the bass players?
I think, yeah, I think it'd be the bass
Yeah,
players,
yeah.
and then and so I guess what the writers and the pencilers are both the lead guitarist and lead singers, right?
Gotta be. Yeah, absolutely. They've gotta be. Well, let's talk a little bit about you said you were doing commissions and things. Um, What was the first like major piece that you worked on that you were really excited about, like as far as something that was saw publication or was a very high level commission? What was the first one that you can kind of go back and where you thought, okay, I've kind of I'm a professional now. I've kind of made it to a level where I'm comfortable, taking on these kind of projects.
I would I would say it was when I did a book. It was my first book, so I thinking back, I was way out of my depth because I'd done like a couple of sequential pages here and there,
Right.
and it was called Projectile Reptile,
Oh,
um,
nice.
and the story was about a guy back in the old west. Who was a shaman, zaps him, he becomes this six-armed reptile guy, and then he gets transported to modern day.
Okay.
And so it's a wacky story. It's
I
a cool
like it.
story.
Yeah.
So I got to got to color uh, three different color covers. Got to do
Nice.
a side image that was done by Peter Orchard, and obviously the book inside. So the original cover was an homage because he was a big Iron Man fan. It was
Okay.
an homage to an Iron Man cover where he's split in half.
Yep.
You remember that no,
I
that
can
cover there?
visualize it. Yep.
Yeah. So half of him was the old lawman back in the West, and the other half of him was as the reptilian lizard guy.
Nice.
Uh, and then Renzo Rodriguez did another cover, so I got to color that one too. And then Shelby Robertson did a
Oh
cover for him
yeah.
as well.
Nice.
And so right off my first book, I got to work with some really big artists like Shelby,
Definitely.
Renzo, and all I want to do after that is all I want to do is color.
Yeah.
I don't want to work anywhere else. I just want to color. Just let me do that. Eventually, I'll bring pencils and inks and do maybe I'll do full covers myself at some point. But
Yeah.
that was the book where I was like, okay, this I can do this. And then right after that, um, have you heard of Advent Comics?
Yes.
Okay, really great guy, actually. Because as I was doing his comic, my daughter was born. And so I was talking to him about that. He had two girls, and he was telling me what it was like, obviously raising his kids. And we were
Right.
bonding through that over chat while I was coloring the comic. And that comic was called The New Fantastics.
Okay.
So I did the first 24 pages of that one. And I think jumping from Projectile Reptile to that one, I could really see the growth that I had.
Yeah.
I was like, this is where I want to be.
You had that perspective at that point to be able to see that.
Yeah. And then
Now,
after that, what I'll do is I'll just jump on stuff I see other people do, uh,
right.
color it, and say, "Hey, here it is. What do you think of this?" And then that started to get some work as well.
Now, when it comes to coloring covers versus sequentials, there's got to be a bit of a difference in the approach, I would think. Are you with covers? Are you trying to make it pop a little bit more? Are you rendering it a little more heavily? Like what's the difference in your approach that you take between working on a cover or a pinup as opposed to sequential pages with actual panels and obviously smaller images and things to go in and work on. What's the difference in your approach on those? How do you like to tackle that?
Yeah, definitely for the covers. It's definitely it's an all out battle royale of color if you can,
Yeah.
to make it pop. And I used to try and do the inside of the comic the same way, but realizing that the pages on the inside are not the same as usually the cover is. And yeah, and you're right, like you're dealing with much smaller images. And initially I was doing that thing I was telling you about, where I was zooming in
Yep.
and I would try and color every leaf on the tree
Yeah.
slightly different shades of green because I wanted that depth. And it was taking so much longer because the sequential pages have to come out much faster. And so I'm focusing on making sure that there's something that you can focus on in every panel, and then of course blending the color so it works for all of them. And that has been a huge challenge. Because when you're just doing pinups and covers, you only have to worry about like the one page. You don't have to worry about what happens in the next panel and how your color will set up that next panel.
Yeah.
And one of the people I was in that coloring course with was Robert Nugent, who's done, I believe, a lot of Spawn stuff.
Yeah.
And in that course, like he was coloring the GI Joe comic as his sample stuff, and it was like already lights out, kind of like, Robert, why are you here? Like you should already be working with Marvel and DC. Like it was so, but I was seeing his stuff, and like he may have a thing where it was like all red, and then he'd render within the red. And I would take a look and I'd look back and I'd be like, oh, that was a really good approach to that. I never even thought of doing that. And so, yeah, I find that all I want to do is just learn from all the other colorists, even the pencilers too, because I find like I'm working with Andy Smith right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, great guy. And
Yeah, I've reached
obviously,
out to him. Because I know Fraga and all those guys, and Fraga was telling Andy about me, and yeah, he said he would come on, but again, another busy guy. We just got to make it happen.
yeah, it's tough. And
Yeah, so you've been doing some work with Andy then.
yeah, so I'm coloring his new book, Lilith.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so and I think I convinced him because he did a Chinook drawing of one of Graham Nolan's characters. And so like on X, I reached out and I was like, hey, I'm like, if you want to send me the high res, I'll color that for you, like just for funsies. And
Nice.
and he did, and I colored it, and the next thing you know, we were talking about going from there. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, and so I did the cover at first, because he probably wanted to see how I would do with the cover
Yeah.
before going on. So we're going to be going on. So it's fantastic. I'm super excited about this. I mean,
Oh, you should be.
yeah. I mean, if you follow me, so you'll see me. Like I reach out to everybody. I
Yeah,
love,
and I was gonna compliment you on something because when it comes to social media, there can be a lot of negativity and stuff out there. But one thing that really stood out to me about you, and one of the reasons I reached out to you to be on the podcast, was you bring so much positivity with everything you post and all your interactions that I see over there on X. So I thought that was really cool, man.
thank you. Yeah, it social media can really bring you down,
Yep.
no matter what, even what circle you're in. And I thought, no, I'm gonna try and do this different. And it's funny is there was a tweet by Donald DeLay,
Mm-hmm.
and he had said something about how I think he was a little disappointed because what would happen is a positive tweet would get 5 likes. But if he
Yeah.
did something that upset people, which is human nature,
Yep.
you'd get 300 likes and 40
Tons.
retweets.
Yeah, way
And
more
he's,
engagement.
yeah, you'll get more engagement. And so I actually responded to him in that tweet. I don't even think he was following me yet. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to try and be different. I'm going to be, I'm going to be not so positive and make people sick, but I said, I'm just going to be positive. I'm going to interact with everyone equally,
Yep.
and let's go from there. Let's see what I can do. And I was probably, I mean, now I'm approaching 800 followers, and I can't even believe. To me,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Yeah,
When I,
that is, man. Yeah. If you're not buying followers, that 800's a lot.
yeah, it is. It was a lot of hard work because I would reach out to people, talk, and sometimes you don't get an answer back. And
Yep.
I get it. Like if you're someone who's got 50,000 plus followers, or like Rob Littlefield, he's got 128,000.
Yeah,
Like
ton.
there have been times I've commented on his tweets and he doesn't
Yeah.
talk back to me, or he
Yeah.
doesn't like answer me. And it's and I
And then
and you know what?
sometimes he does like repost, like he reposted my Youngblood cover I did a while back, and he was like, "Oh, this is really cool," and he like reposted it. So, yeah, a lot of stuff probably gets buried,
Yeah,
and it's got to be it's a double edged sword because we have so much like access to these, well, in our realm of the comic book world, these are like the LeBron Jameses and the Kobe
Yep.
Bryants and everything, right? And the fact that they'll even say something at all, I think is sometimes people don't realize how cool that actually is to have that level of access. But for them, I guess it's got to be a thing where they simply can't interact with everything.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, not just Rob. Like I'll try to interact with a lot of people, and
Yeah.
I realize that even with me trying to respond to people, if you get like I post something and I get a lot of engagement, it can be really difficult to go through every single notification, and that's with
Oh, for
800
sure.
followers. Imagine if you had 100,000 or a
Yeah.
million.
Yeah. I
Uh,
will say though, especially with X though, I feel like the creative community is very interactive and very accessible on there. For the most part. Like especially on X, I notice a lot more. I've commented about it on here previously that I see like the creatives and specifically within the comic book world definitely seem to interact a lot more with the average Joes, quote unquote. You know, the people who aren't mega stars. Like we get on there and we can actually have a conversation. Brett Booth's a good example of that. Pretty much anybody that tags him or interacts with him, he like interacts back and everything. I just think that's super cool. Like if that existed when I was a young aspiring artist, it would have blown me away.
it is because I've colored a lot of stuff that he's done, not paid
Yeah.
for because I see his stuff and I'm so blown away by it. I have to color it. It's an ADHD thing in me. It's that shiny bauble pops up in my timeline,
Yeah.
and I'll download it, start color. Oh, I'll wait till I put my daughter to bed. She falls asleep, and then everyone else in my wife's asleep, and pull it out, and I'll start coloring, and I'll be there 3 hours and not even
Just get
realize that it's.
lost.
I
Yeah.
just get lost in it. But
Well, it
I
sounds like it's very therapeutic for you still, even though you are doing some professional work now. You still find coloring very, very relaxing and therapeutic.
I really do. I
That's
really do.
awesome.
Oh, I did actually get to do a cover that I got paid for that he did because
Oh,
um
amazing.
the comic is not going to come out, and unfortunately, but Rob Hunter had his Death Raider comic,
Oh,
and
okay.
so he knew Brett probably from a studio that they worked at back in the
Yeah.
day, so they were still friends. So he got Brett to do a Death Raider cover for him, and then Rob reached out to me and said, "Will you color this? I need it in 3 days."
You're like,
And I was
yep.
like, "Hell's yeah!" I so
Sure.
I was like, "You got it," and I just went without sleep some like not totally, but
Yeah.
I would sleep 4 hours one night so I could stay up and color that thing and get it back to Rob in time because I was so excited just to do a cover.
Yeah.
Right, I can still
That's
see my
such an
wife's face when I
opportunity.
run out and I'm like, "I'm gonna color a Brett Booth cover," and then my wife be like, "Who's that?"
But she's happy for you.
She really
She
is.
doesn't know who it is, but she's happy for you. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
She's getting to know all of them now. Like she knows obviously the big ones. Like she knows Jim Lee, she knows Todd McFarlane,
Yeah.
Rob Littfield. But she's getting to know all the other ones because she has to hear about it all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for us, like I remember, when Rob reposted my cover, and I showed my wife like Rob Liefeld reposted it. Oh, she's like, oh my, like she's my wife became a lot more interactive in within the comic community and thing over the years. Probably again because I talk about it all the time and I take her to comic cons and things. She's learned out of necessity, so it's nice having that support, you know?
It really is. And
Yeah.
yeah, my wife has been my rock through all this and has supported me. Like unfortunately, it can't pay the bills yet.
Yeah.
So still, I still do the day job so that we can obviously get through. But so it's a nice little bit of supplemental in the
Yeah.
meantime, while maybe I can move into creator status one day.
That would be amazing. And you mentioned, you kind of hinted at still having that itch to pencil something.
Yes.
and pencil and ink and do your own covers or do something like that. So how much time are you spending dedicated to maintaining or improving your skill set as far as just overall drawing?
It's about for drawing itself, it's about 2 hours a week,
Oh,
and
that's
then
great though.
maybe about yeah, and then maybe 8 hours to 10 hours of coloring.
Okay.
Because I my schedule will be like I'll get up and I'll get up with my daughter. I'll be with her all morning until I go to work. Come home with my daughter till we go to bed. Then obviously I'll hang with my wife.
Yeah,
Because got you're with your soulmate. You need to
absolutely. Yeah, you got to make
and
that time.
yeah, and then at the very end, whatever energy I have left goes into coloring. It could be an hour, it could be 2 hours. If I'm like jacked for a project, like it could be 3 hours. So she'll just go to bed and I'll just keep coloring.
Yeah.
But I really want to get back into it because I mean I used to draw. I remember when I was 13 and I was so happy. I drew Amazing Spider-Man 316 and I drew it from memory on this big like 2 feet by 3 feet board that we
Oh,
were
hell yeah.
for art class.
You're
And
talking about the iconic McFarlane
yeah,
Venom cover.
yeah, that's my all-time favorite cover.
Yes.
And so bucket list then, if we're gonna go there, like is to work with McFarlane at some point.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'm gonna bug the hell out of him until he
Yes.
hires me for something.
Well, he sees your guys' work. He does go over people's social medias. That's how he found Thomas Nalick, who's drawing the Salmon Twitch book and gonna be
Oh,
doing
okay.
that, the Santa one they just announced at SDCC. That I think it's like a one shot or something. Thomas is working on that, and that's like literally McFarlane found him through Instagram and reached out and
Oh,
was
that is
like,
so cool.
or had his manager or agent or whatever reach out to Thomas and was just like, hey, Todd wants to talk to you. He's like, what?
Got the tap on the shoulder.
Yeah. And he literally said, like, they did a Zoom, and Todd was like, basically, like, hey, what do you like to draw? And he kind of told him what he likes, and he's like, okay, well, let me get back to you. And then Todd created the Salmon Twitch thing and was like, would you like to do
Oh,
a Salmon Twitch book? He's like, oh yeah, that'd be great. And that's he said he never had a writer or somebody in that position be like, hey, what do you like? Like, what would you really like to draw if you could pick something? And he
yeah.
said, but it's because Todd understands artists, right? Because he is an artist and he is a creative person. So he's treating that with care of like, hey, what would this person be best suited on? So I think that's really cool.
That really is. I just joined their Discord of a couple weeks
Nice.
back because I saw they were going to do portfolio reviews.
Yes, he's been doing those for a while now.
Yeah. So I jumped in and it was too late, but I had this Capullo spawn, gunslinger spawn, which I'm
Nice.
really proud of. So I still put it in the group anyways because it was too late for that.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna try and get back into going into that Discord just so I can stay fresh for when the next one happens
for
because you
sure,
just never
man.
know.
You just never know. Todd is watching. The Todd father is spying on your social media. He does see stuff, so I think it's not outside the realm of possibility that you'll end up like I just had Steve Cannon on here, and he's doing some work over there. So it's actually I think he's also coloring that Santa book that they announced. I think he's doing something on there. So yeah, I think you're right on the cusp.
If I could get to, I'm working on getting to Steve's level. Steve is incredible.
Steve's amazing.
I remember I had to color a Brett Booth piece because I saw he colored it, and I was like, that is so cool. I want to try my hand at that as well.
Yeah.
And so I followed him, and I was ecstatic because he followed me back. I
Yep.
don't know if it's this way with pencilers, but I don't see colorists following each other back. Maybe it's more of a cutthroat thing with colorists because
Interesting. Yeah.
but Steve follows me back, and so like
Well, I don't feel like there's as many of you guys.
I don't think so. And maybe they
Yeah,
fight harder for jobs, so maybe there's a little bit of defensiveness. Obviously not with Steve, because I've tried to interact with him and he's great.
he's
Um,
awesome. Yeah. I
I've
feel like it would make sense that you're in a highly specialized area of comic book art. Like I just don't see as many colorists on social media. Um, and I see a lot of pencilers and a lot of inkers, but I don't see a ton of colorists. And if you think of like most of the colorists working in comics right now, there's a handful of names that you see on like all the different titles.
yeah.
So I just don't think it probably is a cutthroat. Like there's only so much, you know,
Mm.
for everybody here.
I'm gonna still try as many colorists as I can get to follow me back, and I will, I'll learn from anybody. Because
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's the right approach. And it's just about that, continuing to keep that love you have for it and your passion for it. And, I think your secret is it being such a therapeutic thing for you. I think that's really cool. That's what drawing is for me. Like drawing is one of the few non-physical hobbies I have.
hmm
And so it's definitely and also running my business. It's the one time when I'm drawing, I'm not thinking about any of that other stuff. I'm just lost in the drawing.
another world.
It is. It is. Man, Chris, I've had such a wonderful time talking with you today.
Me
I
too.
want to I want to give you the opportunity, and I always say when I vibe with somebody like we are, and we have a lot in common in this creative art world, I would love to have you back on here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I'd love to have you back on when you can announce that you're doing something for Todd, because that's going to happen. We're manifesting it right now.
All right. Yeah, let's, yeah. I will be doing something
Perfect.
for Todd at some point. If it's
You
not
will.
end of this year, maybe beginning of next year,
Yes.
we're gonna make that happen.
We're manifesting it right now. We're speaking it into existence for everybody to hear, including Todd if he happens to hear this. But Chris, I want to give you the opportunity at the end to let everybody know where they can follow you, the best places to interact with you online, to reach out to you if they are seeking a colorist. Let everybody know.
All right. My name is Kristopher Leithwood, but everyone knows me as Tartan Ninja. I'm very, very visible on X as Tartan Ninja Art. I'm also on Instagram, and I plan on doing a lot more on Instagram going forward, also under Tartan Ninja Art. I do have a YouTube channel, but just a couple of stuff that I could post. But I am planning on starting up a coloring series at some point.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and because I mean, other than Color with Kurt, there hasn't been very many colorists
No,
online. So, I mean, I'm gonna have to take that and just go with it.
take the reins, man.
Yeah,
I'll
and
be on there supporting
oh, that'd be great.
for
And
sure.
yeah, I mean, anyone can follow and reach out to me because I just want to try and, I just want to make great comics. Let's just make great pictures.
Well, you're already doing it and you're going to continue to do it. One thing that I meant to ask you earlier that just sprung to my mind. I know the ninja part now of your name, given your Hapkido long time martial arts practice, but the tartan part, is that a Scottish reference?
Yes, yes. I'm a first generation Canadian on my mom's side, and they're English but mostly Scottish going back.
Nice.
And
And
so
the tartan is the color pattern, right?
yes, yes, it is. Yeah, it is. So it's
Yes.
it's under the Christie Tartan for my side, and it was during my color. It was I was trying to do a combination on Instagram, which has billions of users, that I
Yes.
wouldn't have to be Tartan Ninja 42567. I
Yeah.
also wanted to be Tartan Ninja, and that was still taken. So I tried Tartan Ninja Art, and it was there, and so then it was
Perfect.
born from there.
I love it, man. Well, thank you so much again for being on today. Hang out with me for a moment while I talk to everybody here. Everybody, if you are listening to this, that means you already found the podcast. I greatly appreciate you guys. If you're enjoying it and you want to give a 5-star review, that would be great. Share with a friend, like, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. And in the meantime, everybody, keep it nerdy.